name is Colion Noir. I am a Second Amendment gun rights advocate. I also have a number of shows on the NRA TV platform, and shot my first gun around 23, 24 years old. A good friend of mine wanted me to go to the range. It's all right, I'll go. Went. I was a little nervous about it, because for the most part, for me, being a young black guy growing up in Houston, Texas, it was my idea of firearm ownership was largely secluded to the idea of, I'm either a D-boy, you know what I'm saying, or banging something of the sort. Right. And so I didn't want to get the perception or optically have people view me as being part of that lifestyle, right? Because I wasn't. I was in undergrad, just going to school, pursuing my law degree, all those things, right? Trying to do the right things. So the gun didn't necessarily fit that image, at least in my mind. So when my friend asked me to go, I said, man, I don't know. I was like, let me go ahead and do it, because I was a little nervous and scared too. And I was like, I'm a girl saying, oh man, why am I scared of an inanimate object that doesn't have a life, right? And I'm like, and all these other people, I'm in Texas, like everybody got guns. And so I decided to do it. And once I did it and I actually shot it, the first shot scared me, second shot I fell in love. Me too. Right? Yeah. And then from there, it was off to the races. And, I started consuming video, content, reading, all types of things, right? And before I knew it, I was making videos on YouTube. And then before they knew it after that, videos were going viral. That's what's up. And then, so here we are.
What was your first firearm?
That I bought?
Yes.
First firearm was a Ruger SR40.
Okay.
I bought it at a gun show. Okay. I don't have it anymore because I sold that bad boy. So when I started getting the guns, I didn't even have the money. I was, I was in law school. So I was like, my friend used to call it, you're paying to borrow guns, right? Because what I would do is I'd buy a gun, shoot it for a little bit, trade it to get another one, and then, pay the difference, and I'll just keep doing that. I was losing money like crazy, but, I had to feel the fix, right? Yeah. And then, as I started getting further in my career, when I started coming in, then I became a collector of sorts, right? So now I'm collecting guns, buying guns on a whim, just doing all types of crazy things.
No, that's fine.
Great crazy, but nonetheless. So that Ruger SR40 was the very first gun I bought. Loved that gun. I actually researched it, and I only really got it because I was trying to not get a Glock. Because I knew everybody was like, get a Glock, get a Glock, get a Glock.
That's right.
And I'm like, man, I want to be different, right? So I said, nah, I'm gonna research and find an alternative.
Different, I was like that with Apple phones.
Exactly, right? Yeah, I was doing Android. Now I'm all Apple. Thinking back on it, I went from the SR40, and then I got an SR9C, and eventually I just ended up with the Glock 19.
Right. That's gonna be my first firearm.
Yeah, and it's a great first firearm because it forces you to learn gun safety, because some of the features that you typically, like on my SR40, I had a safety on it, all of those things. I had an indicator, but with the Glock, they don't have those things. Right. And you really honestly don't need them as long as you practice the four rules of safety, 4 rules of gun safety. And so I think for a lot of people getting into firearms, when you get into firearms, you really got to stress the importance of the safety component. Because people think that they can short stroke the safety, and then by having physical safeties on the gun. No. You're more dangerous if you don't understand the mental component of the safety, even though you have all the safety features on your gun. That's good. Right? Versus a Glock in the hands of somebody that has the mental acuity and understanding of the safety rules. It's never an issue then. Correct. And so that's why I think the Glock is a good baseline. And then from there, people largely will start to develop their preference. Right. You know what I mean? Right. Some people stay Glock. Yeah. Then some people are like, oh, this is cool, but I'm gonna move on to some other stuff. Right.
With the community that you came from, was there like a conversation that was had, or did you just live your life and say bump it?
It was a little rough because there are people who knew me for so long, and all of a sudden I'm into guns like crazy. Right. So kind of freaked them out a little bit. Okay. And so in their minds, they, people like, you all right? You good? Like you doing? I'm like, man, I'm fine. Right? Yeah. There isn't an issue, right? It's just I found something that I love.
That you like.
And then then this was like at the beginning when Instagram really started to kind of came out. So I had an Instagram account, and then all of a sudden I start posting guns on there, and people were like, oh. people were calling my girlfriend at the time like, hey, is he
okay?
You know what I'm saying? He's good. And so then she, she felt a little bit away about it. So I set up a whole nother page.
Just for regular
that's the Colion Noir page.
Hey.
And then that just took off. Now, I don't even know if I know how to log into my original page. You know what I mean? But the conversation was inevitably had, but it was had multiple times with multiple people over the course of my growth and progression into firearms. So.
And I mean, what intrigued me the most was the fact that you being your demographic, transparently speaking, I don't see a lot of us in this community. So you sharing your viewpoint in this community, you're like on both sides of the fence, kind of. You're like right in the middle.
I think the reason why you don't see a lot of us in the community, because a lot of us are gun owners.
Right.
It's true.
Exactly. No, yes.
The reason why I don't see a lot of us in the community, at least from what I believe to be the case, is what you have is you have this narrative that says gun people are like this.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
If you go there, you're liable to get murdered,
yep,
insulted, all of these negative things to kind of cause us to stray away from it.
Yes.
And then the idea of firearm ownership for us is still relatively new.
Yes.
Because there was a period in time in this country we weren't allowed to own them.
Correct.
Right? So then it's still fresh in our minds to us, so we haven't had the time to develop the culture of firearm ownership
True.
to the degree that our counterparts, our non-black counterparts have had.
True.
Because from the inception of this country, they've been engaged in firearm ownership. Whereas us, we only got that privilege after slavery. So from that perspective, you add that component, then you add in the false narrative, and then you get a group of people who, though may own the tool, don't really seek out the community because there's a fear there that they'll be rejected.
Correct.
I had the same thing. That's why I can speak on it the way I had.
Me too.
Yeah. And so what ended up happening is forgive me, I was kind of like,
no, yes, no.
I was like, I love this. I love to do this. I'm going to go out here and seek out all the information I possibly can.
Correct.
And when I did that, what surprised me was all the stuff I was scared about.
It's not.
It really did come to fruition.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. There are elements out there like that, just like everything else in this world. I can go into a car community and experience the same thing.
Correct.
But by and large, no issues. No.
Right.
And I think that narrative is being pushed on the media because they understand the power of having a strong community of black people who embrace the idea of firearm ownership. Because what it instills in people's minds when you realize it is a sense of independence, the ability to do for oneself, all of those things. I'm not saying we lack those things,
correct.
But when you take into account certain elements of our communities that are overrun with violence and so forth and so on, they take advantage of those parts of our communities.
True.
And they say, well, no, we'll have the government take care of
Handle
it.
that.
But y'all haven't done it for the last several decades that y'all been in control.
True.
So it begs the question. So what they don't want is people in those environments to understand, it's to change the mindset of, well, no, I'm responsible for my safety.
Correct.
I don't need you. Right? So then that forces them to then start selling us a different bill of goods that they don't want to sell. And it's when you start talking about those aspects, then they're kind of like, oh, okay, we can't sell you that. So so they have to create this mindset or foster this notion that don't go over there with those gun people and learn the stuff that they're doing over there. Exactly.
And then create, because I feel like, and I could be wrong, but I feel like in most lanes, we create our own culture in each lane.
Yeah.
So like car culture, there's a lane, particularly like especially in Houston, all right, this is our version of our culture.
Exactly.
Food, there's a version of food culture, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think that will happen with firearms as well.
I mean, look at me, for instance. The vast majority of my followers, like, we share the same vein of thought in terms of firearms.
Right.
A lot of them aren't into the same bullshit that I'm into.
Right.
Like I'm a quasi sneakerhead. There is that crossover.
Yes, there's a crossover.
But what they don't want, what the media doesn't want, is to show that there is a diversity within the gun community in and of itself. Because some of the guys follow me, they're into the same lifestyle stuff that I'm into. Yep. Some of them, we couldn't be far from being we're so far apart, it's unreal.
Right.
However, we have this one commonality, which is a firearm.
Right. And
understanding the importance of it in our lives and just the passion we have for it.
Right.
So at that point, it's fun because it's like, I understand you on this, So now it forces me to kind of better understand you on other aspects of stuff I never paid attention to before, right?
That's true.
And you can't get, and you take that element of the population, and then you take another element of the population that you're trying to keep separate,
Right.
Because if they link up, it's over for y'all.
Right.
So, and the one thing, ironically, that is a common line between those two is the firearm. And it's amazing. So but they understand that and they know that. So they have to drive the narrative. Don't go over there because they racist. Don't go over there, they'll kill you with the gun. Don't go over there, they don't want your black ass over there.
Right.
Come over here with us. Give us your guns though, but come over here with us though. We like you. You know, we'll take care of you. We'll keep you safe. But give us your guns though while you're doing that. I'm like, back in the day, they were telling me the same thing. They were just saying they didn't like me though.
Right.
So it's like they understand the power of the firearm and its ability to unify different people from different cross sections of the country. That's true. They don't want that. I get it, right? Like it's a foreign world for a lot of people, right? I was there. I shoot my first gun, so I was 23, 24. It's gonna be nerve-wracking. It's gonna be a little scary. You're gonna be around people you don't have anything in common with. At least you think you don't have anything in common with until you actually have that conversation. True. You'd be surprised. Just make the effort. And then if you don't like it, then you can say, you know what, I made a valiant attempt. Right. But to just kind of dismiss it wholesale, no, you're doing yourself a disservice. So
appreciate you, bro.
Oh, no problem, bro.
Thank you.
Hey, yo, big shout out to my boy Colion Noir for sitting down with me. I appreciate it. Hey, make sure y'all click the links on the screen. Follow him. Educate yourself. Knowledge is power. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. Like, share, subscribe. I'll holler at y'all later, guys.